This is the Dog Savant Podcast with your host, Brett Endies.
All right, so this is 25, as Jordan said, and I trust his confidence. I'm Brett. I'm the Dog Savant. This is the Dog Savant Podcast. I'm also host of the Untrainables. I am a professional dog trainer for 2+ decades. I'm here in Los Angeles. I do severe problem behavior work, puppy development training, basic obedience, and I'm here to help you learn how to understand your dogs more, learn how to connect with them better, solve their behavior problems, and really relate to them on a deeper, more meaningful level. Before we get into the podcast today, I want to get into a little bit of the business at hand. So I need whoever's listening to this. We've done the statistics, and I'm going to get somebody on this. And if you're listening and you know how to do this, I'd love your assistance if you have any pointers. But we have about 24 listeners per episode, which is good. Hey, I'd rather 24 than 0, right? But it's maybe you 24 can share this, tell your friends, we get 48, and then they share, and so on and so forth. So really share, like, subscribe. It's the only way right now that I can get this podcast found by other people. Don't forget to also watch my show, The Untrainables. The last episode will be out this Saturday. We have 12 episodes the first season. It's on Facebook Watch. And of course, you can visit my website, dogtrainingla.com. I always forget this, but we have a sponsor as well. It's wildzorafoods.com. It's wildzorafoods.com. It's WILDZORA foods.com. And you get 20% off your first order if you use the coupon code The Dog Savant, just like the name of the show. So do that. That'll support our one lone sponsor. And if you're a potential sponsor, please reach out to me or Jordan or anyone else, and we'll try to see if we can make something happen as well. Okay, so the podcast. Some of you who may have been following me on social media see that I at times will post pictures or videos and whatnot of me hunting, or I talk about that sometimes. And I've recently got into and I've immersed myself into bow hunting, which I think is amazing. It's the most exciting thing I've ever done. I used to be into archery when I was younger. I've always been an outdoorsman, backpacking and whatnot. But connecting the two, that's a new thing I started last year. And I really have been just really delving into it. I want to make up for lost time. It's great. So I've been doing some wild boar hunting. Believe it or not, in California, there's a huge population up in Monterey County, and there's places where you can go on public land and hunt for them with archery equipment. So I just want to talk a little bit about that. This is not a hunting podcast. I am enthusiastic about it, but I am solely a beginner. I do this just to share my experiences. Maybe if you're a beginner, maybe you were hesitant, because for years I was like, I'm not equipped. And I'll tell you the steps I took to get it where I am now, going to go in a couple weeks on my own. And I feel confident that I can track, spot, and stalk a wild boar and get a proficient enough shot at a range that I'm comfortable with to take it down and get me some food, right? Get us some, what are they? What are they? I forgot the chorizo, or I don't know. There's a lot of things you make out of pork, but there was something I forgot. The pulled pork, something like that, or there's a word for that. Anyway, you get the point. Anyway, so how did I get into it? I loved archery, and the funny thing is I found from my mother's house, I think it was 1983, so I was 9 years old, a little postcard I sent from summer camp. And I was really upset at my mother because the camp stinks, I think I said. The toilets weren't good, but the biggest stress I had and grief was that they didn't let me do archery. And I remember I love that feeling of projecting something from you naturally with momentum to hit something. It was like satisfying. I remember even as a kid, and I tend to have a little knack for it, I had good ability to kind of maintain that focus, that steady mindset that requires a good shot. So I did it, never did it again. I think once actually when my daughter was taking archery a few years ago, for a few months, I tried it like a couple shots and it was just, I wasn't focused. I didn't have that mindset. But something, it was about almost a year ago, I was just kind of had some time off. If many of you have talked about, I had a pilot I was supposed to shoot for Nat Geo Wild, and I was waiting for an answer, and I was just sitting there for that week knowing I was going to find out soon. I didn't know what to do to kill him. I was going nuts, right? It's a big deal. And I was like, I just had thought about it. Of course, we all listen to Joe Rogan. He talks about it. And it's just like, this sounds like fun, even to just shoot bows and arrows. So me, Mr. Impulsive, I didn't buy the best bow out there, but I bought what you'd call a beginner's compound hunting bow. Now, I never shot that kind of bow. I only shot a regular, like your traditional bow and arrow. So I took lessons. There's actually a range down in the valley, the San Fernando Valley, where the Olympics used to, I guess, compete in 1984 when they were here, and they kept that range for the public. So you can go there and shoot, and there's people who give lessons. So I take private lessons from Andrew. He's my teacher, and he's taught me so much, and I really credit him to be this confident in my shooting, because if not, I probably would have learned the wrong form, the wrong technique. No one would have corrected it, and I would probably be not even able to go hunting at this point, right? So I took a lot of lessons. I immersed myself like anything I do, a little impulsive, kind of all in. And so I really got into it, practiced every day. I still shoot every day. I have a little range set up in the back of the yard. I have a quarter acre. I have some space. I could do that. And I got it. And the extra bonus is you get to carry this into hunting. So I got it to where I felt comfortable. And I went about a month and a half ago. We hear a sound. No more sound. About a month and a half ago, what's that sound? Oh, it's the dog. It's the dog. Bowie! Baba Bowie! Don't breathe on the door. That's Bowie. His snout is under the door, and sometimes the air, because he's such a bellows kind of guy, it goes, just sorry breathe, but that's what he's doing. I was like, what is that? Anyway, so I went hunting about a month and a half ago, and I went to a place where they have the wild pigs. It's really wild pigs you can hunt all year round. Believe it or not, they treat them as like they're a nuisance. They're ruining crops. They kill other animals like deer. Like where other animals like deer have a season. You get a tag for a certain area where you can hunt, whether you're doing bow and arrow or certain. It's a little complicated. We don't need to get into it for this, but for the pigs, you can get a tag and hunt all year round if it's a place where it's allowed. So I go to this place where you can do it. And the first time I was uncomfortable, but I kind of felt it out, and I thought, I was close to it, because now I went for the last 2 times, and this is what I recommend. Get yourself a mentor, someone to give advice, or better even go with you, someone who has the experience, especially if it's bow hunting, because it's different. It's so related to the animal's behavior. That's why I love this. That it's a little hard to learn on your own. Now, I have that background with dogs and, woodsmanship, if you will, but you still have to find some like little details, which we'll talk more about as we get into this. So Brian, who's my hunting buddy for this, we've gone twice now, but I went the first time on my own. It was a great experience. You camp out. It's really exciting. You wake up at 4 a.m, you get to the trail, you sneak in either with the green light or no light, and you just got to hide. You got to play the wind. Animals have the scent, and this is learning from the dogs. They can smell you from miles away. They can know, and they know what a human scent is if they're a wild animal. And as soon as they sense that, they're gone. You could, as soon as you get out of the truck, through scent or noise, blow out the animal, and they're gone. The whole day of hunting is ruined. So there's little things that I've immersed myself in before I went out, right, to know that enough. But it was still like, well, where would the pigs be? What are the signs? I see it on pictures online, little videos I watch, but I'm really in it now. So I did it for a day. I kind of chickened out, didn't do the second day because I didn't feel comfortable. I'm also, what happens if I actually get a pig? I can shoot it, but now what? So I kept in communication with Brian, and then within a few weeks we went again, and now I went with him, and boy, I learned so much, and we had a great time. It seemed like we connected well. We kind of played the hunting game together well when we were out there in the field, created strategies, and then we went again a couple weeks later, and we just kept evolving it. So I'm just learning so much each time. I don't have to get again into details of how to hunt and stalk pigs, but it's awesome. It's so exciting. Some of the moments I've had, even when we were a couple times where we heard a pig and we knew it was close, and you're like, holy cow, there's going to be a potential shot. I tell people there's an instinct that was in me that got unlocked in those few moments where I had that both times that I went. And I can't explain. It's just so exciting. And I look forward to not only doing that, doing it for other game animals too. And it's not just I'm not putting a trophy head on the wall, right? It's to eat the meat. I eat meat, right? Most of us do. I just want to be responsible for it and tap into something and examine my own instincts as a human, because there's something going on deeper than what society provides. And it doesn't mean I'm going to live like a hermit in the woods, but there's something natural to this event that when you get this close to an animal and you hunt it, in this way, although it's a mechanical compound bow, it's still a bow. The guy I hunt with this traditional, old school, it's crazy, but there's something I can't describe, but you get a warm feeling and instinct, and everyone confirms who does it, yeah, that's why we keep doing it. There's something not just thrilling, but just within us that almost satisfies, because I felt more relaxed when the hunt was done. Even I didn't get anything. I'm not a good hunter yet, right? I'm yet to get a kill. I mean, it might take a long time. I don't care. It's the experience. We saw so many elk. we were stalking, and then we saw the back go through the brush. Oh my God, it's a pig. We got close enough. It was a deer, but you're just getting so close to these animals. I mean, I heard of like 30, 40 Thule elk up there. It was amazing just for the experience. You're just out there in the morning as the sun rises, the bird, you learn the timing and patterns of the animals. You're looking at, it's like I tell you, it's like you're backpacking and hiking, but in 3D. There's new layers to it because you're scanning, you're going off trail, you're looking at tracks, sign, wind play, all that stuff. So really amazing. So I recommend it for anyone who's had an interest, but don't go where I'm hunting because I don't want you to blow out any potential animals I want to get. Anyway, so that's the hunting. Was there anything I mentioned I was going to talk more about in relation to the hunting? Oh, the steps. So I got that, and I'm going to go next week by myself, right? In a couple weeks by myself, and it's really just evolving, right? So just I say read books, learn, but I think it's best to get a mentor or someone who's experienced who can guide you through, give you pointers, give you some advice at least, tell you, well, what do I do once what are these, it's just steps. And as you do it, you gain more experience. I can see it. You never treat a hunt that you didn't get an animals on successful because any failures or learning experience you can do this because it's so just rooted in what we're naturally kind of wired to do, even if it was just, a long time ago. Okay, so we're going to do some Q&A time. This is the Q&A section. A lot of you have been sending me great questions either through social media, Facebook, emailing me, all of that. Send the questions, send videos of even things that you've seen in my videos or the Untrainables that you might have tried or questions related to that. I love it. It makes me happy and I want to help as many as I can. I'm sorry I don't get back to you all right away, but I'm going to try to just even through this answer as many as I can and just keep them coming. You can go on my website, dogtrainingla.com. You can link to that. You can send me a message there. My email is dogtrainingla@gmail.com. And of course, my Facebook is Facebook. It's Brett Endies, dog trainer. And you can go on the Untrainables website and link through that as well. Okay, so first one is from Marcelina V. Dog potty train. Let me just read. It's a little bit of a typo. We've had our dog about 3 months now, maybe 2. Yeah, I guess 2 years old. Told she was potty trained. Turns out she wasn't. Now, I've talked about this a lot. Especially for an adult dog, potty training becomes challenging. You need to teach your dog, whether it's a puppy or an adult dog, outside is the only place to go. I would really recommend looking into the structure of a crate or a small space or having your dog waited out on a leash or in a place bed more in between bathroom visits to promote them to hold it because a dog's instinct will be less likely to go to the bathroom if they have less space. Now, it doesn't mean take them out every hour if it's an adult dog. I would go at least 3, 4, maybe 5 hours, overnight a little longer to expect what that dog's potential can, handle. Now, you also want to rule out any medical things. If it's a newer dog, there may be a urinary tract infection or something that can be complicating the ability to hold it. But if your dog learns, well, I hold it better in a small space like a crate and promotes them to wait and, if you will, empty their system when they're outside to go to completion, the wait a little longer than what they're used to, they start picking up on it. And of course, you reward them when they go outside. I don't recommend giving them much attention or punishing them when they have an accident inside. Really right now, create a strategy of how you can prevent it by using the crate a little more consistently. And if they're getting more confinement because the crate's used frequently for a few weeks to teach them better habits, get them a lot of exercise. Make sure they're really tuckered out. The crate can be shuttled around the house so they can be in the same room as you. It's not punishment. It's just an instinct-based way that they can hold it and wait till they're outside to relieve themselves and realize consistently how to figure out, what the right protocol is, whereas when not to and when to go to the bathroom. So I hope that helps, Marcelina. If you have any follow-up questions, just let me know. Let's see. Okay, here's another one. Okay, this is from Barbara M. I'll try not to say her last name if I don't slip here. So Barbara M. Okay, so let's read. This is a kind of one. So I have a 2.5-year-old German Shepherd male. I'm actually fostering for 4 years while his family is in blank, blank, blank. He's never been properly leash trained. Would one of those collars featured with the pug be useful with an 85-pound German Shepherd? If so, where can I get one? Okay, we'll start with that because there's some more questions. So I think with the pug, there's a couple pug episodes. If you're referring to the martingale, I think with a dog that large and powerful that already has habits of pulling, you're going to be better off with a Star Mark or a Hermspringer pinch collar. They're both safe if used properly. You should have all these training collars up high behind the dog's ears so you're more mouthing and steering them. You're not so much jerking on them like older school choke chain training, but you don't want them to fall low, and you certainly don't want to put a harness on these dogs because it promotes pulling and frustration because you're not promoting attention on the walk. You're promoting just physical control, and the dogs, they're too projected when they have these issues, related to walking, leash pulling, reactivity, and whatnot. So yeah, I'd recommend a Star Mark or a Hermspringer pinch collar, metal training collar. There's plenty you can find on Amazon. Just make sure they're actual, well made, not the cheap ones you get at the pet shop. I wouldn't recommend those. Okay, so let's see. So that's where you can purchase them. So online you can get them. Incidentally, you had a few sessions with the trainer, but we pulled him out when he attended him and witnessed their method. Choke collar with severe jerking, and if he's straight from the behavior. Sure, that's the older method. I was taught by that. It's like a Kohler method, they call it, or Kohler method, however you pronounce it. The corrections aren't really that required if you know how to get a dog to focus better and work. And there's expectations on a dog, and you're not going to let them, walk all over you, but there's a more kind of consistent taking the time to communicate. And it's certainly not through bribery or the positive reinforcement, as you've heard a couple episodes ago, that it's really not helping dogs, in any way with that kind of thinking, yet it's a complement to certain kinds of training or teaching dogs certain tricks or skills. Okay, so yeah, he would snap at the leash so they muzzled him. Yeah, because that's what it does when you overcorrect the dog. They get frustrated and they start coming back at the handler, and that's why it could backfire. So that's, I think I'm answering that question. So yeah, and then I think just because he drags you and it seems like you're, in your 70s, so it's not going to be as easy. You need that focus. So I would really start teaching a heel command, having the dog learn to walk on one consistent side, sit when you stop. Not just putting the leash on and going, but doing a lot of warm-up training, so having them really focus before you even go out on the walk and start the walk in a calm way. Really step it up when you see distractions, which probably are going to get them more stimulated or create more of a reaction or pulling response. So it's really just a well-focused heel command, and that's, he doesn't get to sniff or have a potty break until you release him from training and then right back to the commands. There's two options to walk, or let's go next to you and sit when you stop, because everything else he's overthinking and scanning and projecting, and it's making his body pull in certain ways and then, of course, react to extra stimuli or social interactions, new environments, things like that. Hope that helps, Barbara. Okay, so I got you 2 questions there. I think that is a good. So to recap, listen to the podcast, share, review for you 24 people. Thank you. And what I'll do is if you review, we'll try to read some listener reviews and people who've kind of, backed us up here, and maybe I'll give you a little gift here. I'll give you like a Skype session or something like that. Don't forget to go to our sponsor, wildzorafoods.com, and they 20% off, so use the code TheDogSavant. My website, dogtrainingla.com. You can go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com, dogtrainingla, / dogtrainingla, and then my Patreon. I don't talk about that enough either. Support my Patreon, even if it's $1. Support it. It helps me keep this podcast going. It gives it, I can get better equipment, keep Jordan coming back, all these things. So it's patreon.com / TheDogSavant. Thank you so much. Keep listening. Keep sending in your questions, and have a great day.